understand how much subconscious judging that they go through all of the time. When you walk into a room, you're subconsciously judged all of the time.
Right.
And small little failures like that, even the people who hate me, even the people who dislike me and are happy he said something negative against me, if you're going to collapse in the face of the ABC or NBC and people who do nothing but lie and start spouting garbage which you know nothing about, how are you going to stand in front of Putin? How are you going to stand in front of Xi? Like, you failed a competency test. I don't believe he's fit to run a country anymore. Thank God he's not president. That's what I think after I saw that. I'm not scared of what he said. I just literally think he failed a competency test. Now let's talk about why I was allowed back in America. Well, the first thing is I have a passport. So that's the first reason. Secondly, it's kind of amazing that I'm seen as the number one fugitive. I have no criminal record anywhere on the planet. I have no criminal record in the UK. I have no criminal record in Romania. I've never been convicted. I've never been convicted of anything in America. I have no criminal record ever. If you go down to the mall in Miami and walk around, you're going to walk past 30% of people with convictions. You're going to walk around amongst criminals. I've never been convicted of anything ever. So it's amazing that I'm fugitive number one. That's the second point that's interesting. The third point, and this is what's kind of funny when they tie Trump into me being free. My case was dismissed in December under President Joe Biden. The judge ruled that there wasn't enough evidence for it to go to trial in December under Joe Biden. Then the standard operating procedure in Romania and every other sophisticated judicial system is there's no indictment in the court. It was rejected by the court to go to trial due to lack of evidence, or in fact, in our case, it wasn't even lack of evidence. It was falsified evidence. It was illegal evidence, which we can talk about. It was rejected, but for some reason our bail conditions were kept. And they were kept saying the prosecutor believes he might rewrite it and try again. Is this a judicial system? 2 years you keep me trapped in a country, you send an indictment to court, the court rejects it, and they keep you on bail so the prosecutor can spend another 2 years typing up garbage? Is this a judicial system? I ask all the Americans who are watching this, how much blood do you expect me to give to a foreign country's judicial system? I gave them 3 years of my life, my reputation, missed my grandmother's funeral, didn't see 2 of my children, lost my money, lost my house, lost my cars, sat there, went to court on time, every single time, and it got rejected by the court. And now I'm kept on bail. And eventually they release it and let me fly. Am I supposed to do what? How long am I supposed to sit there while this country decides to try and find charges on me? Have I not done enough? Have I not given enough to Romania? My bail conditions are that I have to return on the 23rd of March. And I'm going to make it very clear right now to everybody listening. I am going back. I'm going to fly back and obey my bail conditions. I'm not running from anything because I'm not a coward. But I find it completely flabbergasting that people are sitting there going, oh, Andrew, why did he leave Romania if he's innocent? I've been there 3 years dealing with this garbage and I never went anywhere. Let's actually analyze this. Imagine in an American court, they said to you, yeah, you're innocent. Yeah, there's not enough for trial, but you're still on bail. You still can't fly. You still can't go anywhere. We've sent it back to the prosecutor and told them to try again. How long will that take? As long as they want. Is that justice? I ask anybody, is that justice? Is that expected of me? It's absolutely insane. And all the people who are complaining about the fact I'm here have never been to Romania, don't know the Romanian system, don't know the Romanian judicial process. I've been through it for 3 years. I barely understand it. These people are sitting around talking about things when they don't even understand. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Another question, which is quite pertinent, I want to ask. I've seen a lot of idiots say, Andrew escaped Romania because it was corrupt. If it's corrupt when I get to leave, isn't it corrupt when they lock me up? Or no, it's not corrupt and they stick to the rules when they lock me up and destroy my life. But after 3 years without charges, when I'm allowed to leave, it's corruption. Think about the dichotomy of that. It's either one or the other. So people are just picking and choosing and doing anything they can because they don't like me. This has nothing to do with due process. These people don't respect due process. They don't care if I'm innocent or not. They just don't like me. Patrick, I have a feeling if I was fat and ugly, none of this would be happening in terms of the hate that I'm getting from the conservative type. But you know when you're like tall, brown, sexy, and rich? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nice Patek. Yeah. Mine's got diamonds. When you're tall, brown, sexy, and rich, they just don't like you. Any conservative should be sitting here going, I don't agree with Tate, but due process, and he's not been charged. He's not guilty, so he's flying. It's normal. But they hate me so intrinsically. They hate me on a visceral level where they're saying, forget due process, forget the legality, Forget the fact that the Romanian judicial system shouldn't be trusted. Forget the fact he's given him 3 years of his life. Forget all that. He's bad. Crazy.
By the way, when you say dismissed, Rob just pulled this up. As of March 3rd, the charges against Andrew Tate have not been dismissed. In December 2024, a Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. However, investigations into allegations of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group are ongoing.
Correct.
Is it still that? Is
correct.
that still
no, correct.
going?
So let me clarify. Correct. Absolutely. December 2024, my case was dismissed. The Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. That sounds like, procedural errors, no big deal. What if procedural errors are false translations? What if procedural errors are illegal wiretaps? What if procedural errors are not respecting my client attorney privilege? What if they spied on me when I was talking to my lawyer? What if they broke every single law in the Romanian constitution, which is what they did? Then they returned it to the prosecutor and said, do it all again. So here it says, it's still ongoing. Yeah, it was dismissed because the whole case is garbage, just as I described. They sent it back to the prosecutor, said, we'll keep him locked up. We'll keep him here. Here's 2 more years. Try again. Is that justice? I'm asking a genuine question. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm living in the middle of it. As professional men, do you see that as justice? I beat my case. They lied and cheated the whole way through. They sent it back. And then they get to say, it's still ongoing because the case is open because we're going to do it again. Is that allowed?
So Romania's expecting you to be back by March 23rd.
Correct.
That's because of this.
No.
And did they allow you to leave purely for, what's the reason why they allow you to come to the States?
They allowed me to come to the States because in December, my case was dismissed. In 99.9% of Romanian cases, that means the end of bail conditions.
Okay.
With me, they kept the bail conditions. They kept them for December. They kept them for January. They tried to keep them for February. And my lawyers made submissions to court, and we went in front of a judge, and we complained that this is unfair. And a judge said, okay, let him fly as long as he comes back once a month. And I said, I will respect the Romanian judicial system because I'm not running from anything, and I'm going to go back. Guys, anyone who's concerned about me running doesn't understand me. We got a direct order from the commander-in-chief. It was 3 words long. And it was fight, fight, fight. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to Romania. They may arrest me, maybe put me back in jail. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to go back. I'm not running from any of this. I've never run from any of this. My bail conditions were lifted. I've been in Romania for a very long time. I felt like a holiday. I thought Ron was a good governor. I chose Florida. Turns out it's communist like the rest, but I'm here for a while. There's no huge conspiracy. There's no Trump pressure. There's none of these things. 3 years I gave the Romanian government. 3 years. And eventually they said, okay, you can go to your home country. They should have let me come here a long time ago. I should have been able to come here the whole time. The whole process, I should have been able to come here. I've never been convicted. Why wasn't I free to travel the whole last 3 years? That's the actual question Ron should be asking. Ron should stand up there, or anyone with a brain should stand up and say, okay, well, he's never been convicted. And the case keeps getting thrown out due to lack of evidence or falsified evidence and illegal evidence. Why couldn't he travel all this time? Why was he even stuck in Romania? Why did they even take my cars? Let's be professionals and ask pertinent questions here. Why did they steal my money? Why did they put me in jail? Why did they take all my cars? Why did they take my house? Why did they stop me seeing 2 of my children? Why couldn't I see my mother when she had a heart attack? Why couldn't I go to my grandmother's funeral? Why was my image slandered? Why was I locked in my house for 1.5 years and I couldn't even leave the living room? Why was I there if there was not even enough evidence to ever go to trial ever? Isn't that a better question than why am I in America? To me, it seems to be. See, that's the question I would ask. Why have I even gone through any of this? We can go deep down the rabbit hole, but I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd, I have to report to the Romanians. But I'll tell you this, Soros and the European Union, which has become communist, have massive influence over there. And you have a huge power struggle between the American state and the Soros state. And there's 2 teams, and one of the teams wants me in jail for life. That's why I was dealing with all this.
So, but was there any help from Trump's camp to help you get here? Was there any influence there?
I have no idea.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
I mean, I would like to think from a positive perspective, I'd like to be optimistic and believe that Donald Trump saw this garbage and maybe asked some questions. I like that idea, but I don't know. I had no confirmation.
Right.
I have no idea. I don't know why. However, as a professional, which I am, I would argue if Kamala won, I'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. But so would Trump. And so would everyone else.
No
so would you.
There's no question.
So would you, and so would you.
Yeah.
So Trump won, and perhaps the Romanians said, oh, the boss is back. We can't do this anymore. That's possible. Did Trump fly to Romania with an AK? I doubt it. But things change. There's a new administration. All the Americans are being released. Why is no one complaining about the Americans that got released from Venezuela? No one's complaining about the Americans that got released from Russia. Americans are being released all around the world because we finally have a real president again. And I seem to be one of them. The Romanian states thought and said, the boss is back. We probably can't continue to fuck with this guy for no reason. We don't even have a case. As it stands right now, guess how many indictments are in court against me? 0. Not one. Not one.
Well, let me ask this one here. With this situation here, that you're in the States, can UK, because UK and US have an extradition, they have a law that I think came about, Rob, if you can pull it up, I think it's 03 or 07 or something like that. Can UK say now he's in the States, can UK and US's relationship with each other do anything to you? Is that a risk of yours? Is that a concern of yours or not at all?
I'm tall, brown, rich, and sexy. So I have a strong suspicion that's one of the reasons the UK hates me so much. Because the UK is now a fallen nation. It's a completely communist country. You can't speak out. Isn't it interesting that not too long ago, America would talk about going to war and killing people for the idea of democracy and freedom. And now our allies, like the United Kingdom, will lock people up for tweets. Or even worse, Trump and Vance will put Zelensky in his place, which needed to be done. And then our allies will invite him over the next day and hug him and shake hands and promise him money.
How do you feel about that?
Well, what I feel like is that they're not even our allies anymore. That's snakery. You insult, if my brother puts you in your place and I come up behind his back and offer you money, am I my brother's brother? Is that how it works?
No. Nope.
So now we're talking about the UK government. We can go long and deep into the state of the United Kingdom because every single person I know with money is leaving. Why does the UK want to lock me up? Because I'm seen as a symbol of resistance against their communism. That's why they hate me. They hate me because I teach young men to think for themselves. That's why they hate me. Because the UK's fallen due to a lack of masculinity, which is what I promote. That's why they hate me. Are they going to try and get me? Probably. If I go to UK, will I ever get out? Probably not. Am I afraid of them? No. Because I don't operate from a realm of fear. We had a 3-word instruction from the commander-in-chief. So if I have to go to the UK and fight them, I'm going to do that too. Until then, I'm on the PBD podcast. I don't know what they're going to try and do. All I know is I don't trust them. And I don't think any American who understands how the world's currently operating trusts the UK government with anything. Do you? Would you trust yourself to have a fair trial in a British court?
In UK?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So it's a setup.
No.
It's an absolute setup. Why did the UK even come for me? Once again, I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd of March, I'm going to be walking into the jaws of a tiger. But I can tell you this. The UK Foreign Office was heavily involved in my entire persecution in Romania. From the first day. They didn't get involved later. From beginning, before it even happened, the UK Foreign Office was saying, this man is a problem. We're talking about him in Parliament. He's a big problem in our schools. He's a big problem on the internet. He's a problem. Can't you take him off the internet? Can't you make him go away? That was the UK Foreign Office. When I got released from Romanian jail, then I got released from house arrest, all of a sudden, Britain trumps up charges from 2009. Supposedly in 2009, I attacked some girl. And I was arrested again for 24 hours. I don't know if you guys remember. And I sat there for 24 hours. I was like, okay, wait. Who? When? Can't tell you that. So you're saying in 2009, I attacked a girl? Yes. Who? Doesn't say. When? Doesn't say. Where? Doesn't say. Just says 2009, you attacked a girl. By coincidence, Tristan also, 2009, attacked a girl. Where? When? Who? Don't know. 2009, you both attacked girls. No details. We made it up. Extradite. Thank God the Romanian state said, no, this is not even evidence. We can't extradite with this. It's nothing that doesn't mean anything. So the UK state trying to get us when Romania started to fail. UK's lost its mind. UK will look at the violence against women and then start saying my name. Oh, this is because of misogyny. Andrew Tate did this. No, what did this is a lack of a border, unchecked migration, thousands of people coming over from the third world each day on dinghies who have no jobs and loiter around in the streets. That's why women are not safe in London anymore. Nothing to do with me. They know it's nothing to do with me. I'm in a Romanian court under the Biden admin. Is that not the best possible badge I can wear? When Biden was president in a Romanian court, I beat my case. And they'll still sit there and go, oh, but he's guilty. Did I say some stupid things on the internet 12 years ago? Yes. But I also said I'm an astronaut. And guess what? Elon's not calling. So it doesn't matter. It's not, you need a victim. You need you need proof. You can't say he said one stupid thing on the internet 12 years ago. Anyone who believes that's a criminal case is a dumbass. So Here we are. You talk about Great Britain, they're after me. Romania's still after me. Ron DeSantis is after me. Aliens are probably after me. I don't know what to do. I'm just a man. But, you know, we're tall, brown, rich, and sexy. We're doing our best.
How did it feel when you landed? You haven't been here for 6 years. What was that feeling like when you guys landed in the state? You were born here in D.C. What did that feel like?
You know, it's amazing because we were supposed to have Wi-Fi on our jet. No one knew we were leaving. We get in the air, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, of course. So we had no idea about the fanfare. So we landed, and Tristan's phone starts working. And then he says, wow, it seems people are very interested. It seems like this is a big, big, big story. I didn't expect it to be this big. I said, yeah, it is a big story. I'm kind of surprised as well. I didn't think anybody would even really care that much. And Tristan said to me, he goes, better this than nobody caring at all. And this is a very interesting point that my haters don't understand. Because I get so many of these conservative dorks, and they are dorks, these nerds. Andrew Tate's a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Crying about me all of the time is the reason my brand is so big. It takes hot and cold air to make a tornado. And there's nothing more feminine than sitting there as a conservative influencer. I'm a conservative influencer, and he's so dangerous, and he's so bad, he's so scary. You sound like a girl. You sound like a girl. It's gay. It's gay. They make me sound like a mafia boss all the time, which is why young men go, well, do I want to be like the big boss who everyone talks about? Or do I want to be like this dude who talks about being afraid on his Twitter? My haters can't stop mentioning me. I didn't tweet for all that time because I didn't need to. The whole Twitter was me. I don't need to tweet. I just need to breathe and they talk about me. So they give me so much unlimited energy. If my haters had a brain, they'd stop talking about me, but they can't. They can't. So when I land and all these haters and senators and Ron and everyone's having a mental breakdown, I kind of just sit in the middle of it like, well, I mean, I guess I'm the main character, I guess. I mean, what am I supposed to do with it all? But you're asking how I feel. It's kind of interesting because it was such a whirlwind and it's still such a whirlwind now. And I know I have to go back in a few weeks. No feelings have really come to light as of yet. I don't feel any. No, I don't feel relieved.
Reminisce, family, memories. You and Tristan by yourself. Hey, man, this is kind of cool. 6 years, nothing.
There is an element of that, but how do I say this without sounding psychotic? Let me try and not to sound crazy because my haters have enough ammo. Let me try not to sound psychotic. Part of me will be disappointed if I don't go to Romanian jail. And I know this sounds nuts. Maybe this is a coping mechanism. I don't know. We can all talk psychology. When you're a man and every single government in the world is after you, maybe you cope by thinking, well, if they do win, I'll get a cool story. Maybe that's coping. I'm being honest now. We can talk to Dr. Phil. Call Dr. Phil. I don't know. But I was so certain that we were cooked. I was like, no one beats these people. You can't beat this. This is a fucking setup. And they're going to rig the next election like they rigged 2020, and they're going to set us up, and we're done. We're toast. I was so certain I was cooked. I kind of, in my mind, was like, oh, I'm cooked. And now I'm not cooked. I'm like, well, I don't deserve to be cooked, which is good. But it's a very strange feeling. I just hadn't prepared for it. I don't know what else to say. It's really weird. It's really weird. But I was disappointed by my welcome. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to train Ron. We're going to be okay.
Tate, we've interviewed you a few times, but you sound angrier than ever. Is that your resounding emotion right now?
You know, I said this on the plane to Tristan, and I said that him and I, truthfully, if I think and if I analyze, one of the reasons why our haters hate us so much, and it must be very frustrating to dislike us, because in the end, we always just seem to win. It must be very frustrating to hate us, and then no matter what happens, no matter how many times they think we've got this guy banged to rights, look, 4 criminal cases in Romania, 2 criminal cases in England. He can't fly. He's done. Here's an old video he's explained 1,000 times. Let's retweet that. Look, we've got him. He's toast. No one will talk to him. The governor hates him. And then I'm on a jet. Boom, bang, ha, PBD, woo. They must hate me. I get it, right? And then you can talk about, you know, if this is the universe, if this is your own hard work, if you're divinely protected, if it's fate, all of these things. But for some reason, I seem to be very competent and very lucky. And when you're both of those things, vengeance crosses your mind quite often because you know that it's easy to be vengeful because you know if you talk, you could easily get retribution against the people who have wronged you. But I don't want to be a vengeful person. And I don't want to go out on a path of vengeance. However, I do think that justice and balance are important in the universe. I do think that the moral arc of the universe should bend towards justice. I do think the people who have lied, I do think the people who have done wrong things, I do think the people who have decided to destroy my life should face justice. I don't think that's vengeance. I think that's balance. So for that reason, you say it's anger. I would call it potential energy, which is stored, which will be directed towards justice. I'm not looking for vengeance. I'm not looking for revenge. All I want is the world to be fair. Don't we all want the world to be fair? I expect a fair trial, and I expect my enemies to have a fair trial. Unlike my enemies who are praying I do not have a fair trial, I don't want that. I want my enemies to have a fair trial just as I will, because I know I will walk and they will not.
Tate, let me ask you this. By the way, if you're watching this, again, we got 80,000 people in the room right now live watching. Share it with as many people as possible. We're going to be going. We got a lot more topics to be talking about. We don't know if we'll stay on. Share it with folks. Question for you. If I wanted to find out what my audience looks like, and I were to bring it down to 100 people, and I said, okay, let me take all the followers, and let's just say they're in the room together. What do they look like? I'm like, okay, 62% business owners. Cool. 3.8% Middle Eastern. Great. Politics, family, kids, finance. Got it. If I was to go in the room and bring it down to 100 people out of your tens of millions of followers that you have, what do you think your followers look like?
It's a good question. A lot of people would expect it to be explicitly only male, but it's certainly not. I get a lot of support from females as well. So I would say it's 90% male, 16 to 30, usually younger guys, but all the older guys know who I am as well. It's pretty well spread across the world. It's pretty international. I get letters and support from Mongolia and Thailand and Singapore and Australia and absolutely everywhere, not just the Western world. And then there's a huge contingent also of females who support me. Traditionally, Republican females, or I've had a lot of letters, and when I say a lot, I mean hundreds of letters from women in Tennessee or Kentucky or Alabama who are raising their sons without a father, and they say that I help them teach their boys how to be men. I have a lot of support in the Arab world as well, a lot of support from the Middle East. So what's really interesting, I've never actually encountered any kind of negative interactions in person ever besides media. Most people seem to like me. In real life, I've never had anybody say anything negative to me in real life ever. Ever once, ever. Male or female, ever. Lots of women come up and ask for photos. Lots of the beautiful Instagram girls, all the guys are DMing or chasing me. So it's quite a diverse audience that I have. But primarily because I think I make young men feel motivated. Those are the ones who are most engaged with my content, 16 to 30-year-old males all around the world.
So do you think obviously, I don't think any of them would be liberals. Is that fair to say? A very small percentage would be liberals.
Correct.
Okay. And a big percentage of them would be conservatives, libertarians, driven, moneymakers, competitive business owners, sales. Some of them would be that, right? Okay. So this is the part with what some people say about you. DeSantis we already covered, so we can skip DeSantis because you were very direct with DeSantis.
My friend Ron.
Right, that's right. Your friend Ron, you're going to be his CMO to help him with his campaign for 2020, which was very kind of you. Dave Portnoy. Here's Dave Portnoy, who is a Trump supporter. He's had Trump on. He actually did a good interview with him.
Interesting.
He's got a right-leaning audience.
Yep.
He says, what's the point of booting out illegals and criminals while somehow becoming a safe haven for the Tate brothers? That's one. Two, haven. Ben Shapiro, okay? You know who he is. You and Ben, good friends. You guys, I'm sure you have had dinner already since you've been here. Because
let's do one by one.
Okay, so let's do Dave. So
let's do Dave.
Go with Dave. What do you say to Dave? Dave's a guy that's done well for himself. What do you say to him?
I've spoken to him once on a podcast, and I said women couldn't drive. And the face of horror he pulled. I don't know if he was because he was afraid of his audience. And he was like, look, I love women drivers.
Is this the one about the IQ stuff that you guys talked about?
We did a podcast once. I said women couldn't drive. And he pulled this fake face of horror because I guess he's afraid of being canceled.
Right. It was on a Zoom. There was a girl on it, another guy.
It says everything you need to know about Dave. I don't know much about Dave. I don't know. I see videos of him jumping up and down about sports teams. And he's 47 with no children and smokes weed. That's what I know. He dislikes me. A lot of these conservatives who dislike me for the key reason that I am the hero they want to be. They know I'm the hero of the masculine youth, and they want to be the hero of the masculine youth. Like, why doesn't all the young boys look up to me? All the young men look up to Andrew. They should look up to me. I'm a conservative. I'm a tough guy. No, you're not. I don't know enough about Dave to truly say why he has the point of view he has. I would put it down to jealousy because I'm big, tall, brown, sexy.
I think that's what it is.
Patek.
Yeah, with diamonds.
It's a Patek thing.
Don't forget the diamonds.
It's a Patek thing, but I've got diamonds on mine.
Listen, I think Dave can afford the Patek. I just wonder what, for him saying something like that. Let's go to Shapiro. Shapiro says, You know,
but before we move on from Dave, but this is the thing that's so important. If I was my enemy, I wouldn't talk about me. But my enemies are so obsessed with giving me unlimited energy. I don't tweet about Dave. I don't care about him getting excited over a sports team and masturbating when he's high on weed. I don't give a shit that he has no children. He's sitting around alone. I don't care about Dave. But he seems to care about me. I truly have a worldview, and this is an actual genuine belief of mine. And it can't be explained by science, but I guarantee you it's true. If there's enough human beings out in the world consuming calories, they're doing whatever they have to do. They're going to work, and they're trying hard to find money to buy food, to eat calories, to stay alive. And they're converting those calories into my name, either by typing it or thinking about me, negative or positive. That is orgons, a word I've just made up. Orgons.
I'm like Googling it right now.
Into the universe, out into the world, which I absorb. Why am I so lucky? Why are my arms so big? How come I have so much money? Because there's all these millions of people around the world who cannot stop putting Andrew Tate orgons into the atmosphere. So Dave has just paid me. Thank you, Dave. But after this little splurt, I promise you, the chance of me ever considering him as a human being ever again is fucking zero.
Really?
I don't give a fuck about Dave Portnoy. I couldn't care less.
Wow. Okay. What's this one here, by the way, Rob?
That's Dave Portnoy. This is Ben Shapiro.
Let's go to Shapiro. So,
little Ben.
Shapiro.
One second. One second. I'm Ben. Let me lower my chair. Let me lower my chair down.
Listen, I suggested the other day that you and Ben do a podcast together.
Listen, let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. I'm not even going to read Ben's crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, the only OnlyFans, donates to AIPAC, which pays Ben. So when he complains about anything to do with me helping girls optimize webcam profiles 12 years ago is absolutely hypocritical. He's taking money from OnlyFans today. He's taking money from OnlyFans as it stands.
Ben does OnlyFans videos?
Ben, I'm sure for enough money he would. I'm sure for enough money he would. Midget porn.
I did not know that.
Midget porn. OnlyFans are paying AIPAC, which are paying him as it stands.
Oh, that's what you're
saying.
So
anything about his pornography crap can go out the window. Anything about him complaining about my criminal charges, once again, due process out the window. I like to think, after what they just did to Trump, by the way, remember, Trump is convicted, and he's president, and nobody believes it. I'm not even convicted. And Trump was convicted in an American court, New York. Okay, you can barely call it American, but it's better than Romania. And I'm not even convicted. So he's our president we all respect and look up to. But me with a lower barrier, who's been lower down the chain, they're going to pretend they're offended by for some reason. So what Ben does is say, Andrew's a criminal, and Andrew did pornography, even though he takes money from porn, and I'm not convicted. And he only does this because he's extremely small, and I'm extremely big, which is that's why he's upset. He's small and upset, and he's just going to have to sit over there and be small and upset.
All right, let's see what you're going to say about this next one, because this one, she's got a lot of credibility. Megyn Kelly. I don't know if you saw what she said. And no. Megyn is a G. Megyn's very good at what she does.
Didn't know what she said.
Yeah, she came out and she, the Tampa Bay young Republicans said something about welcoming you and Tristan as a free speech absolutist. The Tates haven't been formally convicted of any crime, and we are welcome to speak to our group. He is welcome to speak. We are old enough to remember when a convicted felon won the presidency.
Absolutely.
#free state.
Absolutely.
She responds, you've lost your ways, boys.
Well, Megyn, I've never spoken to you in my life. I actually saw a few clips of yours. I thought that you were pretty good. I was a fan. You still can't drive, but it's fine. I mean, like, people are allowed. People are allowed.
Maybe driving classes.
People are allowed.
If it's one is marketing, the other one.
Oh, man.
You can't drive, Megyn, but you can have an opinion. It's a free country. You can have your opinion on me. And you can be offended by me for some reason. You can give me your orgons, Megyn. You can sit and you can eat your food and you can talk around the table about how Andrew Tate's a bad guy. And then one person out of the group will argue with you. Before you know it, there's all these long, hour-long conversations about Andrew Tate that I don't even know take place. I just seem to keep getting all these orgons from somewhere. Megyn Kelly's allowed an opinion on me. Positive. Next.
In a serious conversation, why do you think someone?
I forgot. Isn't it Dave who?
Dave Portnoy. Right?
Sorry, I forgot.
You got Ben Shapiro, Family Guy. On the conservative side.
Ben Shapiro's not a family guy. Ben Shapiro's a midget warmonger who, if he got sent to war himself, would piss his little pants, sitting down and spending the last 10 years advocating for big, strong men to go die in ditches while he sits at home collecting money. Ben is a warmongering piece of shit. He's not a family guy. Ben's actually a bad person. And I'm saying that genuinely. I don't usually have personal beefs with people. Ben is a bad person.
Tell me why.
Look
at
his.
Why.
You don't need to know much about him. Look at his history during COVID. Look how he pushed for everyone who didn't take the vaccine to not be able to fly and leave their house. Look at all his warmongering. Every single war, he's desperate for people to go to war permanently all of the time. And then he sits there hypocritically and say, "Oh yeah, Andrew Tate's accused and porn," while taking money from OnlyFans himself. He's just a bad person. Ben's just a bad person. That's the truth about Ben.
Okay, so that's your opinion. Stick to the family.
That's
guy.
a fact, sir.
Okay,
that's a fact, sir. So that's a Diamond Patek fact.
Stick with conservative families. Okay,
sure.
Why do you think they have a challenge? What do you think it is? Purely with the values and principles. Because you talk about justice earlier. Justice is important to you, right? And I've watched you. I'm a family guy.
Yep.
I got I got a wife. I got 4 kids.
Yep.
I got 2 boys, 2
Only
girls.
4.
And listen, if I had it my way, I'd go to 20. Look, I'm sure you like seeing Elon having his 14th. I'm sure that for you is
kind
kind of
understand each other. Let's put it at that. Let's leave it that way.
Yeah, but the point being, we've spent time, and we'll sit down and I say, yeah, that's just not my lifestyle.
Yep.
I would do it this way.
Yep.
Him and I don't see face to face here.
Yep.
We disagree here, but we get along.
Yeah.
We have a respectful conversation every single time.
Absolutely.
But why do you think some of the conservatives who are net positive to society, why do you think they have a problem with you?
Oh, I know that a lot of people have problems with me, and I completely understand why.
Specific to conservative stuff.
Well, the conservatives that have a problem with me see me as extreme, and they see me as degrading to the society, not understanding that in every single contingent and every single battalion, you need to have people who do different roles and do different things. I may be extreme, right? I may be seen as a rebel or an outlaw, or I may have extreme views or do extreme things. But I am extremely important in the battle against liberalism and the insanity and the communism of the world today. I may do a different job. Yeah, a sniper does something different than an assault troop, but we're all necessary. So they think that I'm not on their side because I don't live the same as them. But let's be honest, and I want to state this without arrogance. None of these people who were sitting at home, white picket fence, perfect upbringing, never had any of the terrible life I had, because I had a very hard life, never had any of the struggle I had, never had any of these things, who were criticizing me for my views and things I've done. None of those people moved the needle like I did. I was a cultural force. And I was a cultural force for the good guys. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but soldiers are not perfect. Warriors are not perfect. The special forces operators, every single Navy SEAL you can find has put a bullet in a kid's head, but he's doing it for his country. You can't be a good warrior if you're a perfect person. If I had no bad history, never swore, didn't know any women, and I sat at home and a white picket fence and I was completely legit and I'd done everything by the book, I wouldn't have the impact I have. The reason I can speak the way I speak is because I understand the struggles of young men, because I grew up in the poorest possible socioeconomic area in the UK. My finger came off, I was stabbed. I made money an illegitimate way. I managed to clean myself up, get up out the ghetto, clean things up, teach men how to be strong, how to be resilient. I have a life story. So these people see me as their enemy for some reason, not understanding that all of those elements that they don't like are the reason I am the force I am. If I had a perfect, easy little life, I've had it all the time from these conservatives. They're a pastor and they live in Nebraska, and they married their first love, and they have a white picket fence, and they go to church every Sunday. Great, good for you. Guess what? Most men in the world don't care what you say, because there's no light without dark, and I have enough dark to bring the light. So you have to stop seeing me as your enemy because I don't live the same life you do. That's the reason I have the impact I have. I'm not going to apologize for being me. I'm not going to apologize for the circumstances I was born in either. I'm not going to apologize. It's truly crazy. They say, oh, Andrew said this on video. He should go to jail. Didn't 50 Cent sing that he was a pimp? Why is he not in jail? There's a video of 50 Cent on YouTube saying he's a PIMP. Is he locked up? No. Videos aren't real, right? So none of this stuff is real. It's just YouTube garbage. And they take it and they pretend that I'm the one degrading society, not the warmongers who are sending us into endless wars, not the drug dealers who are pushing drugs, not the liberals who are trying to chop your balls off. No, it's me. I'm the bad guy. Kissinger. He's Kissinger, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Henry Kissinger, yeah.
He said a whole bunch of negative shit about me. Wasn't he pro-Iraq war? Wasn't he pro-war, Kissinger? I don't know the exact schematics of it. But there are literal warmongers. There are literal warmongers who are begging for people to be blown to pieces, then tweeting that I'm the bad guy. How the fuck does that make sense? So these conservatives need to really, truly identify who their enemy is, and it's not me. The reason they hate me so fervently, the reason they dislike me, is because I get the attention they wish they got.
What did Kissinger say about you?
Oh, something like I'm bad and I shouldn't.
Kissinger's dead.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong name.
Adam Kissinger or the old Kissinger?
I don't know.
This is Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
Henry
Kissinger is dead. No,
Who's
I want to make sure we.
I don't know who
Kissinger
these
was
people
a
are.
very
Henry
heavyweight
Kissinger
guy.
was a
Well, he died in
former-
23.
Which, by the way,
Secretary-
you're right.
yeah.
Kissinger was a guy that caused war a lot.
Oh.
But you may be talking about Adam Kinzinger.
Is he pro-war?
Adam
Yeah,
Kinzinger is not going to be a fan of yours.
No, for sure
Okay,
not.
so let's be professionals. Can everyone stop being emotional and calm down? Let's be professionals. People, no.
We're the ones being emotional, Andrew.
No. To the conservative audience, the people who allowed you to be locked in your houses and lose your business and are sending your tax money abroad to fund endless wars and have murdered millions of people around the globe are saying, I'm the bad guy. The people who are on Epstein's Island, who own the media outlets, are saying, I'm the bad guy. And you're not mad at them. You're mad at me? Are you a moron? Like, are you stupid now at this point? This has been going on for 4 years with federal agencies from the USA, the UK, and Romania trying to pin me down, and they can't. Is that not proof of evidence? Is that not evidence of innocence? What more could you possibly ask? You take any one of these governors, senators, media outlet people, any of them, put them under the same scrutiny I've been under, and they'll all be locked up. Every single one, for corruption, for racketeering, for influencing, all of them. But me, I seem to walk every single case. And then the conservatives are getting psyoped into believing that I'm degrading society. Me, not the media, not the fake news, not the transsexuals, not the drag queen story hours, not chopping your balls off, not sending our young men away to die in a ditch. No, me. Because what? I made a joke saying women can't drive?
Well, there seems
can't.
There seems to be a common thread with the conservatives, by the way. And it's, you kind of alluded to it, but the pastor in Nebraska as an example. They're marrying their high school sweetheart, one woman, have sex with one woman, that's who you marry. Where you're viewed as a womanizer, and you proudly said this.
I wish.
But yet Elon Musk gets a pass.
Well, no, but this is the thing. I did a long 30-minute video on this exact subject, but I want to talk about this. In fact, let me put my sunglasses back on.
And by the way,
I want to look cool. Let me look cool.
Damn.
I wish I could meet one woman in high school and fall in love with her. I wish I could. That sounds like a blessing, and I support them absolutely. But I didn't. I grew up a different way, and I didn't. And truthfully, I have a different worldview. Now, we can go down this whole conversation. Perhaps we should. But I did a long 30-minute video on Elon and his recent baby drama. Mm-hmm. And I was explaining that all the people who are insulting Elon don't seem to understand that at his economic bracket and at his capability and at his mental, with his challenges that he's facing, I don't know the guy personally, but I would argue that his primary interest are rockets in space and Tesla. He's probably not that interested in sitting around with girls and having date nights. He wants to do rockets and Tesla. So what does he need from females? Children. So that's what he does. Does he pay for them? Does he take care of them? Are they safe? Does he love them? Yes, but he has other concerns. This is the business of kings. That's what kings do. Progeny, sons, heirs, cool. Back to work. I understand Elon, absolutely. Trump does the same thing. He has 3 or 4 baby mothers. I don't know. This is the business of kings. If you have the financial capability to take care of 5 or 6 different women and they're all happy to birth your progeny, then you're going to have a whole bunch of children. This once again comes down to jealousy. The pastor in Nebraska is jealous of me because I will always have more kids than him because I can bake more bread because I have more ovens. You can be mad. You can hate me for it. You can say I'm the bad guy. But my children are paid for. They're safe. Their women are paid for. Nobody's unhappy. Everybody's happy. That's the scenario that we're all in. It's my life decision. It's their life decision. And it's nothing to do with you. I don't criticize you making your decision, so don't criticize me making mine. That's the bottom line of it. But they're jealous I have more influence than them. I understand. But to sit there and pretend that it's a threat to society that I have a whole bunch of rich women living in mansions, having children that we're all happy, is garbage. There's much larger threats to society than that.
Just to specify, because if you're going to say this pastor from Nebraska, let's give him some love. Do you remember his name or no?
No.
His name is Pastor Shane Idleman. I think that's the guy.
I literally, what's funny? Maybe it was subconscious. Maybe I scrolled past it.
Is this the guy? Is this him?
You know what? Maybe it was subconscious and I scrolled past it because I made up pastor from Nebraska off the top of my head. So if there is one who hates me, if there is one who hates me, it proves that I have a pretty good feel on the demographic who hates me, because I'm sure there is a pastor in Nebraska who's saying, Andrew Tate's the devil.
Well, if it's not him, he just got a shout out.
Bro, it's true.
God bless, Pastor.
Guys, Elon's in the business of kings. He's trying to have progeny. My security team in 21 years from now will be my 10 sons. That will be my security team. I will make 10 sons, and they will be my security team. I have an objective to complete. Now, if a woman comes to me and says, Andrew, I'm better than the rest. I can grow a baby in a week. I'll say, all right, then. I'll be loyal to you. Done. There you go. If it takes 9 months to grow a baby, that's a skill issue. It's not my problem. I got work to do. So that's it. I'm very honest and open about this. Anyone who wants to attack me for it, that's their prerogative. But I'm not the enemy of civilization in the West. In fact, I would argue I was a large weapon in saving the West, in getting Trump elected, in waking men up, in fighting against the insanity. I would argue I've been on the good team for a very long time, and I have suffered for that. If any of these little pastors or any of these little conservative accounts had any actual influence over the needle or over society, they'd be in jail, or they would have caught a case. They didn't. Trump caught a case because he mattered. I caught a case because I mattered. J6ers got cases. That's what they do. Governments, the Matrix, when they're mad, they give you a case. If you're sitting there with your Twitter account going, I'm a conservative and I've been preaching conservative values for years, and I don't know why the boys like Andrew Tate and not me, because I go on long Sunday walks, and why don't they look up to me? I wish I was famous. You didn't catch a case because nobody gives a fuck what you say. Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. If you are important and people listen, you cannot speak freely. Even now, there's a whole bunch of things I want to say that I cannot say. So I was attacked for my capability in the war against these people. That's what I was attacked for. And anybody who hates me, who hasn't caught a case, with respect, you don't matter. Even our enemy don't think you matter. You can be mad at me all you want. Think about this. We're all charging at the guns. We're all charging at the machine guns, and every single enemy machine gunner is saying, look at that guy, that's Tate, shoot him. If he gets to our trench, we're fucked. Shoot him. What about him? He's a pastor from Nebraska. Don't shoot him. Let him run. He can get here. Nothing will happen. They don't have no power. They have no influence. They have no capability. So they're mad at me, and they try to pretend I'm the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy. I just beat you. Tate, just better than you.
You say that having children is the business of kings, right?
Correct.
So I don't know how many you have. Elon's at 14. I don't know if you're trying to compete with him. Pat has 4. And he's very loudly and proudly said he'd have 20 if he could.
Yep.
What I want to understand is the role of a father. We see basically the decline in civilization right now, especially in America, about the lack of fathers in homes. We talked about the African-American community. How often should a father be with their child? And I'd love to get PBD's opinion on this, because it would seem to me he's way more hands-on with his children than you. So how do you grapple with that?
Interesting question. And I would say that instead of just talking about fatherhood, let's talk about masculinity in men as a whole, because depending how competent you are as a man depends how potent you are with your time. So before I apply this to fatherhood, I'm going to apply it to something else. If you are a man who works in Starbucks and you're not that interesting and you're not that successful, for you to have a woman to be loyal to you, you need to be next to her all day, every day. You need to hold her hand, and you need to be with her every night. And you have to come home every day, and you have to talk to her all the time and text her all the time, etc. If you're one of the most famous, important, rich men in the world, you can talk to a girl an hour a day or 20 minutes a day, and you can see her once a month, and she'll be loyal to you. Why? Because of the potency of the man, the capability of the man. It's like most things, right? You need less potent alcohol than you do need a whole bunch of weak alcohol. And I would argue it's the same with fatherhood. I think the best fathers are so busy getting things done that, yes, they see their children. And I see my children all of the time. I see a different child every single day. So I'm with my kids 2 or 3 times a week, all of them. But I'm so busy getting things done that I can't be with them all the time. It's true. I argue that would be offset by the fact that I am who I am. If I meet an average person on the street, someone I've never even met, and they say, I watched your videos, you changed my whole life, and I meet them for 5 minutes, and I shake their hand, it becomes their story for the week. I can have an influence on people quickly because I'm potent. And it's the same with my children. My father raised me that way. My dad could be home an hour a week because he was my dad. Now, there's other dads who'd say, you're a bad dad, I'm home all the time. You're a couch potato. You ain't raising your son being a couch potato. You may be there, but you have no impact because you don't matter. I have stories to tell. I'm fighting the Matrix. I'm interesting. So I would argue, same with Elon. Let's apply it to Elon. Anyone who says Elon can't be a good father because he has so many kids is an idiot. You think Elon, with his influence and his brain and his capabilities and his achievements, can't see his children for a few hours and make a massive impact on them? You think his children aren't going to grow up and know that his dad is the first person to colonize Mars and be proud of his last name? Of course they will. Of course. If you want to be a couch potato and sit at home and have no stories to tell and no capabilities and think that makes you a better father, well, then you're just an idiot. And you're not even raising your kids because YouTube's raising your kids or the school's raising your kids. You're sitting there jerking off the porn and watching fucking sports with Dave